What's up guys, Chris Chin here for Digital Trends, and we're up here in very cold and snowy Lakeville, Connecticut, right up here at the very famous Lime Rock Raceway Park, and we're here with Chevrolet testing the all-new 2018 Equinox diesel. And we're not exactly here, however, just to find out how the Equinox diesel is, but we're also up here to get a nice little crash course, not literally, on how to drive in the winter. Chances are at this time of year, and if you're on the road, you've experienced this kind of icy, snowy, not so great driving conditions. And we're gonna agree with pretty much you viewers out there that it is not very easy to drive in these kind of conditions. So Chevrolet invited us all the way out here just so we could give you viewers a few good tips on how to drive safely in the winter this year. So let's go check it out. So John, what can you tell me as we're going around this pretty slippery track here, as I'm trying to keep us alive? Some really important tips that drivers should know when tackling winter driving.
Well, let's start with a driving position to start with. The laid-back driving position is not conducive to steering quickly, so let's go ahead and get the seat adjusted up. We're not cruising for chicks right now. We're driving in a performance situation here. As you can tell, your braking's lessened, certainly when you're turning, so you try to do most of your braking while you're in a straight line before you have to have the car slowed down. And then as you add steering, we're releasing some brake pressure. We always want to keep our eyes ahead where we want to go, not where the car's taking us. That's going to make your hands much more accurate because as soon as you look off the road where the car's taking you, we end up having our hands take us in that direction. So we always want to look where we want to go and plan your braking well in advance.
And of course, you know, given that we are on a enclosed course right now, a lot of what we're doing, you know, can and also cannot apply to the road. Like for instance, you wouldn't want to see our traveling distances from the people in front of us because we're just in a special arrangement here, but normally you'd want to keep your following distances from the car in front of you about a little more than 3 cars, right? I would say that's fair.
I would say double what you're used to in the dry, because you'd be surprised if you have to stop quickly how much distance gets taken up surprisingly fast. So I would double the following distance at least.
So it seems like also too an important tip when winter driving is to be very, very weary, of your basically all of your inputs, so your steering inputs, your braking inputs, and your throttle inputs. Like for instance, as we're viewers can't see right now, but the person in front of us is applying, it seems like, too much brake at the wrong time.
Yep. They didn't do enough braking while going straight and then release the brake while turning.
And I think that's also something that a lot of, you know, normal drivers don't understand, is that, you know, they think that you could just brake in a turn, and that's not really the way you're supposed to do things. You always want to brake earlier.
It overwhelms the tire. If you use some braking while you're turning, you're taking away the tire's ability to turn.
Right. And you're also asking the tires to do more than one activity.
Exactly.
Which can become overwhelming.
That same thing applies to throttle. If you've got a bunch of steering in and you kick the throttle in, you're going to overwhelm the front tires, or in this case could be all 4 of them, and the car will start to slide off until you hear the stability control kick on and it cuts power. Yeah, the biggest one to remember is braking distances. Brake earlier than you think you need to. And don't jam on any of the inputs. Don't jam on the brakes. Don't jam the steering, cranking a bunch of steering. Don't jam on the throttle. Everything's smooth, with the one exception of if the car does start to slide, you may have to move the steering wheel quickly in the right direction. You can't be super slow with the steering, sometimes because you can't catch the slide.
Would you recommend viewers as a good way to practice getting more comfortable with an automobile, you know, for winter driving? Of course, you know, there's the option of professional courses and training, correct?
Which would be the best scenario. Obviously something like this is great. The first time you get into a skid should not be on a public road. Having just read how to get out of it in a book, a driver's ed course or something like that, you should definitely get some practical experience trying and getting a feel for it in your own vehicle.
Yes, it's very important. Get comfortable with your own vehicle just to get a better idea of what it's like
as it behaves on the road. Any other very important tips you have for drivers, just say on the road, for how to handle, you know, winter driving? Say just they get stuck in it, and you know someone doesn't normally travel in the winter, but say they do get stuck in it. What are some just good general advice tips would you say?
Well, I think we covered the most important ones, which is your following distances, looking where you want to go, and braking earlier than necessary, gently, and then keeping a little momentum in certain areas where you need to get through deeper snow or a hill or something like that, just carrying a little momentum up that, and then just get some practice in it. Like you said, some good safe environments to go get a little practice in it and get a feel for it.
Alrighty, John. Well, I really appreciate you taking the several minutes to give me and our viewers a good idea of what we should keep in mind when driving in the winter. And hopefully, this video provided some good ideas and some good tips as to how to keep yourself safe on the road during the inclement of winter weather. So, this is Christian from Digital Trends signing off, and John.
Great job.
Thank you, sir.
Great job.